Good evening. The news summary for this Friday, 6th March. The Minister for Finance, Pierre Laporte, has announced that his ministry has prepared a statutory instrument for the President of the Republic to sign, introducing price controls on 27 essential commodities at on STC's list. The ministry has also added another item on the list, imported chicken pieces. According to the minister, the measures have been introduced in response to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East and its impact on the global prices. Mr. Laporte explained that under the new price control mechanism, the allowable profit margin for perishable goods will be set at 18%, while other commodities, including dry goods, will have a margin of 15%. He also stated that a dedicated task force will be established to ensure that the traders comply with the new price control regulations.
The SI will be signed. We expect it to be signed today by President, and a unit will be established to police these measures. Fines will be imposed as provided by the statutory instrument, and this measure is temporary. Up to 1 year as provided here. Provision is made for it to be renewed, but we are hoping that the conflict is prolonged. So as soon as the conflict is over, the situation is stabilized, we will go back and remove controls on the majority of these products, except for a few that I had mentioned in my budget speech will remain. There will be other measures besides prices that will accompany support for the population, for business community. One thing we're looking at is, should businesses be affected, especially from the tourism sector, they could approach their banks, and we are working with banks to allow people some relief on interest payments.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Industry and Enterprise, Gérald Alizobé, has announced support measures for businesses affected by the decline in tourist arrivals. She said that from the end of March, businesses renting kiosks from the Enterprise Seychelles Agency, ESA, will benefit from a 50% reduction in rental fees. The measure is introduced to support these smaller businesses experiencing difficulties as tourist numbers fall amid the ongoing conflict in the Middle East.
There are other measures also that we are discussing with all the partners concerned. If the situation doesn't get any better, there are other measures that we are discussing, like the minister has mentioned. Reduction on interest rate when it comes to the loan, financial assistance schemes, when it comes to their tax payment as well. So there are further discussions for further measures if there is a necessity to implement further measures based on how the situation evolve. But for the moment, we are having this 50% reduction on rent to relieve the financial pressure that they may be facing due to the reduction in tourist arrival.
The Seychelles Fire and Rescue Services Agency, SFRSA, and Seychelles Petroleum Company, SEPEC, have signed a memorandum of understanding to strengthen fire safety and emergency responses in petroleum-related incidents. The agreement focuses on enhancing collaboration through joint training, technical exchanges, and the shared use of specialized facilities and expertise, including live simulations, all aimed at improving preparedness and reinforcing national efforts to protect lives, property, and critical infrastructure. The agreement was signed by the Deputy CEO of CPEC, Brenda Gobin, and the Chief Fire Officer at the SFRSA, Tali Dumeng.
It's under the SFRSA Act that SFRSA carries this statutory mandate to prevent and extinguish fires, to respond to hazardous incidents, and to protect life and property. As SEPEC operates the petroleum storage depot and critical fuel infrastructure, Our operational environment intersects directly with that responsibility, and that is precisely why this MOU is necessary. As new officers join the SFRSA, and as new personnel may also join from our side, there must be structured opportunities for familiarization. As institutions evolve, teams change, infrastructure may develop. Preparedness, therefore, must be continuous.
The National Assembly has unanimously approved the budget for the Ministry of Homeland Security and Civil Affairs for a sum of 761,488,000 rupees. The budget will cover expenses for the four departments under the ministry, namely the Department of Internal Security, Public Safety and Homeland Coordination for a sum of 49.5 million rupees, the Department of Internal Affairs, Immigration and Civil Identity Systems, the Seychelles Prison Services for a sum of 133 million rupees, and the Department of Police for a sum of 761.4 million rupees. The delegations from the four departments was led by the Minister James Kami. The Department of Risk and Disaster has organized a national forum in collaboration with regional and international partners to put risk and disaster reduction at the center of development. This is to strengthen the integration of risk and disaster reduction in key sectors. The forum, organized by DRDM in collaboration with the Indian Ocean Commission IOC and the United Nations Office for Risk Reduction, has been organized to discuss key points, including putting risks and disaster reduction at the center of development. The forum, which will last for 2 days, will also make these key sectors understand how to prepare things if there are any natural risks or other crises. The UN's President Coordinator for Mauritius and Seychelles, Lisa Singh, says that Seychelles is a small island vulnerable to the most impacted by disaster problem.
We've seen coastal surges, landslide, cyclones, and these are lived realities. I know Seychelles is not in the cyclone path, but still, you do have very severe weather manifestations. And climate change is amplifying these hazards and increasing their infrequency, their unpredictability, and their impact. And it touches our daily lives. For a country where development gains are hard-earned, each disaster carries the potential to reverse years of progress in a matter of hours. Globally, as you know, we are approaching the 2030 horizon for the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction and the Sustainable Development Goals, which you are all familiar with. For small island states, particularly in Antigua and Barbuda, which Seychelles was represented by the president himself 2 years ago, it reaffirmed that, resilience is not optional. It is existential. And the window, frankly, to act decisively is narrowing. We're all seeing the world news every day. And this forum is therefore really, really timely. We are working on risk-integrated approaches to climate action, infrastructure development, social protection, risk governance, financing, data systems, and institutional coordination. Through the leadership of the government in Seychelles, the country has made progress in enhancing coordination and the use of risk information and prioritizing preparedness, but of course we need to make more progress.
That's the end of this news summary. Join me at 8 for the news bulletin in Creole. Until then, have a pleasant evening.